I died choking on my own blood, the metallic tang flooding my mouth as my brother's hands, those same hands that had clapped me on the back 1,000 times, pressed the pillow down over my face. For the family, he'd whispered, his voice cracking like thunder in a summer storm, right before the world went black. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my body 3 years earlier, heart pounding in the chest of the 25-year-old Ariana I used to be, staring at my reflection in the cracked bathroom mirror of our family's crumbling Queens row house. The date on my phone read June 15th, 2022, 87 days before the accident that would claim my life, courtesy of the people I loved most. I gasped, my knees buckling against the cold tile floor, the fluorescent buzz overhead drilling into my skull like a hangover from hell. My hands, trembling, alive, clutched the sink, knuckles white as I forced myself to breathe. This wasn't a dream. The scars from that bar fight last month were still pink and angry on my forearm, the ones I'd gotten defending Mom's honor against some drunk asshole at the corner bodega. But now I knew everything. Every lie, every whispered deal in smoke-filled backrooms, every dollar siphoned from the family business to fund their golden escape. My brother, Ethan, the golden boy, architect of it all. My mother, complicit in her silence, trading my future for a slice of his ambition. And me, the expendable sister, the one who'd uncovered their scam just in time to become the loose end. The hook of it all hit me like a freight train. I wasn't just back, I was armed. 3 years of memories, of watching my life unravel from the inside out, compressed into this single, searing moment. Ethan's big ceremony was coming up, his law school graduation gala at the Waldorf Astoria, the event that would catapult him into the elite circles of Manhattan's power brokers. In my first life, I'd been there, beaming like the proud little sister, only to be ushered out the side door by security at Mom's subtle nod, my dress too cheap, my presence an embarrassment to their polished facade. That night, after the champagne toasts and fake smiles, they'd driven me home, staged the crash on the Bruckner Expressway, tires slashed, brakes failed, my screams lost in the screech of metal. But not this time. This time, I'd walk into that ballroom like I owned it, and I'd burn their world to the ground before they could light the match. I straightened up, splashing cold water on my face, the droplets tracing paths down my cheeks like tears I refused to shed. The apartment smelled the same, stale coffee and regret, the faint undercurrent of Dad's old cigars lingering in the walls even though he'd been gone 5 years. Cancer, they'd said, but I'd learned the truth in those final months, poisoned slowly by the same hands that now plotted against me. Ethan had done it for the inheritance, to clear the way for his fresh start. God, the irony. Our family ran a small import-export firm out of a warehouse in Long Island City. Nothing glamorous, just knockoff handbags and cheap electronics funneled through shady ports. But Ethan, with his Ivy League charm and ruthless streak, had turned it into a front for money laundering, skimming millions from cartel connections down south. I'd stumbled into the ledgers one rainy afternoon, thinking I was helping with inventory, only to find the ghosts of transactions that could land us all in federal prison. In this second chance, I wouldn't stumble. I'd charge. First things first, documentation. I grabbed my laptop from the kitchen table, the one with the sticker from our road trip to Vegas, the last time we'd felt like a family, before Ethan's ego swallowed us whole. Logging into the cloud drive I'd shared with him for business help, my fingers flew across the keys. There it was, buried in a folder labeled taxes_2021, the encrypted files, the offshore accounts, the emails to his fixer in Miami. In my old life, I'd printed them out, confronted him tearfully in the warehouse office, begging him to stop. He'd laughed, called me naive, then waited for the right moment to silence me forever. This time, I'd mirror his moves, cunning, calculated, with a knife hidden in every smile. But revenge wasn't a solo act. I needed allies, and trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. My first call was to Lena, my old college roommate from NYU, the one who'd stuck by me through breakups and bad jobs, the paralegal with a nose for bullshit and a heart too big for her own good. Ari? Holy shit, it's been months. Wait, why are you calling at 3 a.m.? Her voice was groggy, laced with that Brooklyn edge that always made me smile. I spun a half-truth. Insomnia, family drama, needed her legal brain for a hypothetical. By dawn, she was at my door with coffee and bagels, her curly hair tied back, eyes sharp as she scanned the printouts I'd made. This isn't hypothetical, babe. This is felony territory. Ethan's name is all over it. Laundering for the Sinaloa remnants? Jesus, Ari, if this is real. It's real, I said, sliding the stack across the table. And it's just the tip. But keep it quiet. No cops yet. I need to play this smart. Lena's brow furrowed, that protective fire igniting. She'd always hated Ethan, called him trust fund Ted Bundy behind his back. As she pored over the pages, marking discrepancies with a red pen, I felt the first crack in the armor I'd built around my grief. In my death throes, I'd seen flashes of what could have been me, free, building something real instead of patching their lies. Now, with her help, I could expose it all at the ceremony, turn his triumph into his trial. The days blurred into a frenzy of preparation. I juggled my dead-end gig at the coffee shop, tips barely covering rent, while digging deeper. Late nights in the public library, cross-referencing Ethan's donor lists with PAC filings. He bought his way into Columbia law with dirty money, schmoozing professors and politicians alike. Mom knew, of course. Her charity galas were just mixers for the elite, where she'd parade me like a show pony until I outgrew my usefulness. The secret she'd buried deepest? Dad's death wasn't just poison. It was her idea, whispered to Ethan over whiskey in the den, to end his suffering and secure the business. Suffering my ass. It was suffering for them, his endless questions about the books, his threats to go clean. By the time the invitation arrived, gold embossed, addressed to the family, I was a ghost in my own home. Ethan breezed in for dinner one night, all cologne and confidence, clapping me on the shoulder. Sis, you gotta come to the gala. Make Mom proud. His eyes lingered a beat too long, that calculating glint I now recognized as predator's instinct. I smiled, sweet as pie. Wouldn't miss it, bro, front row. He bought it, or at least pretended to, ruffling my hair like I was still the kid sister chasing his shadow. As the ceremony loomed, tension coiled in my gut like a spring. Lena had looped in a contact at the DA's office, anonymously, of course, tipping off the feds without names yet. But I held the detonator. A USB drive loaded with everything, ready to plug into the gala's AV system mid-toast. Controversial? Hell yes. Ruining his big night in front of 500 influencers, donors, and DAs, it was scorched earth. But mercy had gotten me killed once. This time, justice would taste like victory. The morning of June 22nd, I slipped into the black sheath dress I'd bought on clearance. Simple, severe, a far cry from the frills Mom hated. Staring in the mirror, I saw not the broken girl who died gasping, but a woman forged in fire. Ethan's limo idled outside, Mom already inside, her Botox smile fixed. Ready, darling? She cooed through the window. I slid in beside her, the leather creaking under me. More than you know. The Waldorf's ballroom glittered like a fever dream, crystal chandeliers dripping light onto tuxedos and gowns, the air humming with jazz and ambition. Ethan stood at the podium, resplendent in his cap and gown, accepting accolades for excellence in corporate law. Cameras flashed, applause thundered. I hovered at the edges, champagne flute in hand, Lena's text burning in my pocket. Feds en route.
Hold till kul.
Mom sidled up, her pearls clacking. Ariana, dear, perhaps you should wait in the lobby. This isn't your crowd. There it was, the dismissal, laced with that familiar venom. In my old life, I'd slunk away, tears blurring the marble floors. Now I met her gaze, ice to ice.
Oh, Mom.
I'm exactly where I belong. As Ethan's speech peaked, to family, the foundation of all success, I moved. The AV tech, greased with $100 from Lena, nodded from the booth. My thumb hovered over the remote in my clutch. One press, and the screens would flood with evidence. Wire transfers, emails, Dad's autopsy photos I'd unearthed from the coroner's cold files. The room would erupt, his future in flames. But as I stepped forward, a hand clamped my wrist. Ethan's, his smile frozen for the crowd. "What the hell are you doing?" he hissed, breath hot with panic. His grip tightened, nails digging crescents into my skin, but I didn't flinch. The band struck up a swell of trumpets, masking our standoff amid the swirl of skirts and clinking glasses. "Let go, Ethan," I murmured, my voice steady as the lie I'd rehearsed 1,000 times in the shower steam. "Or everyone sees why you're really here tonight." His eyes, those sharp blue chips inherited from Dad, widened, a flicker of recognition cutting through the denial. He knew. Somehow, in this twisted rewind, he'd sensed the shift in me. The way my laugh no longer rang hollow, the questions I asked now laced with barbs instead of blind faith. We'd grown up in the shadow of the skyline, Ethan and I, kids of immigrants who'd clawed their way from Ellis Island dreams to Flushing sidewalks. Dad with his thick Polish accent, haggling over crates of faux leather. Mom, the Southern Belle transplant, charming suppliers with her drawl and dimples. Ethan was the heir apparent, top of his class at Stuyvesant, while I scrapped through community college on waitressing shifts, content to be the backup plan. But blood ties twist like vines, and ours had choked us all. The betrayal started small, Ethan's side hustle in high school, fencing test answers for cash. I'd covered for him, forged Mom's signature on the report card. Loyalty, I'd called it. Blindness in retrospect. Now, in the crush of the gala, with deans and district attorneys milling like sharks, he yanked me toward the velvet-draped alcove, the one overlooking Park Avenue's neon pulse. "Ari, what game is this? Those files, you deleted them, remember?" After I explained. His voice was velvet over steel, the lawyer's pitch he'd honed in mock trials. Explained. As if staging Dad's death, framing me for the discrepancies, then helping me disappear in a fiery wreck was just a family disagreement. I twisted free, my heel catching on the carpet, steadying against a potted fern. Explained? "You mean gaslit, but I'm done listening." The crowd's murmur swelled as his mentor, Judge Harlan, silver fox with a reputation for burying scandals, took the mic, praising Ethan's unwavering ethics. Irony so thick it choked the air. I slipped the remote into my palm, thumb grazing the button. One click, and the jig was up. But doubt wormed in, controversial as hell, this public execution. What if the fallout swallowed Lena too? Or worse, painted me as the vengeful harpy, the jealous sister sabotaging her brother's shine?
No.
Mercy was the noose last time. This was survival. Mom materialized then, her champagne gown whispering like a serpent, eyes darting between us. "Children, not here." She herded us deeper into the shadows, her perfume, Chanel No. 5, Dad's favorite, now a trigger for nausea. "Ariana, whatever nonsense this is, stop. Ethan's future, our future, depends on tonight. Our future." The words she'd cooed while signing off on the warehouse upgrades that funneled cash to Cayman shells. I'd found the emails last, in her inbox. "Liquidate Ariana's shares quietly. She's asking questions." Shares I'd never known I had, the ones Dad left me to keep her safe. "I know, Mom," I said, voice low, venomous.
About Dad.
The antifreeze in his scotch. How you both toasted his peaceful passing, while the hospice nurse looked the other way. Her face drained, lipstick stark against paling lips. Ethan cursed under his breath, scanning for eavesdroppers. A waiter passed with a tray of caviar blinis. The normalcy of it mocked us.
"You were a kid, Ari," he snapped.
Dad was suffering, bills piling up, the business tanking. We did what we had to.
Suffering.
I laughed, bitter as the dregs in my glass. "He was on to you, Ethan. The cartels, the bribes to port officials. He wanted out, clean. So you poisoned him slow, made it look like liver failure from the booze he swore off years ago." The secret I'd clawed from the grave, the toxicology report, buried in a manila envelope under Mom's mattress, the one she'd burned after my accident. But rebirth had its perks. I'd memorized every line, every anomaly in the levels. Mom's hand fluttered to her throat, pearls clicking like rosary beads.
Lies.
Your father. He forgave us. Forgave? The word ignited something feral. In my dying haze, I'd seen him, not ghosts, but echoes, his broad hands signing the will that left me nothing, manipulated by their tears. I'd gambled everything on family, covered their tracks, even after the first threats, slashed tires on my beat-up Civic, anonymous calls breathing static and warnings. Walk away, Ari. Or join him. Now, cornered in this gilded cage, Ethan lunged, not violent, but desperate, snatching for my clutch. Give it here. Whatever poison you've cooked up. We grappled, a silent ballet of siblings turned strangers, my nails raking his cufflink. It popped free, skittering across the floor, catching the light like a fallen star. The remote tumbled out, skidding toward a cluster of laughing alumni. Time slowed, a woman's heel hovered, inches from crushing it. I dove, elbow slamming marble, fingers closing around the plastic fob just as the band hit a crescendo. Ethan loomed, face twisted in that boyish plea he weaponized so well.
Sis, please.
Think of Mom. The scandal. It'd kill her. Kill her. The hypocrisy burned. But as I rose, dusting my dress, I saw the fracture. Mom's eyes, glassy with unshed tears, not for him, but for the empire crumbling. For the first time, pity flickered. For her, the girl from Savannah who'd married up only to drown in greed. No, I said, thumb pressing down. The screens flickered, projectors humming to life behind the podium. Gasps rippled as the first slide bloomed. Ethan's email chain, timestamps glaring. Confirm transfer. 2M to Panama. Eliminate loose ends. A. Ruiz. My alias, the one he'd pinned the discrepancies on. The room tilted, whispers erupting into shouts. Judge Harlan faltered mid-sentence, face ashen. What in God's name? Ethan whirled, horror etching lines into his boyish features. Ariana, you bitch. But security was already converging, badges flashing under the chandeliers. Mom clutched my arm, nails like talons. Undo it. Now. Her voice cracked, the southern lilt fracturing into raw plea. Controversial decision number 1. Expose them, yes, but spare her the cuffs?
No.
The feds burst through the doors then. Lena's tip paying off. Badges out. Voices barking orders. Ethan Caldwell? Step away from the panel. Chaos reigned. Gowns hiked for escape routes, phones whipping out to capture the fall. I stood amid the maelstrom, remote limp in my hand, the weight of 3 lost years lifting like fog. But as they cuffed Ethan, his eyes locked on mine, not rage, but something colder. Recognition. This isn't over, he mouthed, the promise of a man who'd already killed for less. They hauled him out, Mom trailing in a daze, her empire in tatters. Reporters swarmed the exits, mics thrusting like spears. I slipped away through a service door, heart hammering, Lena waiting in the alley with a getaway car. You did it, she breathed, pulling me into a hug that smelled of rain and relief. Did I? The screens still looped behind us, evidence immortalized. But as sirens wailed into the night, a new hook sank deep. Ethan's fixer, the one who'd torched my car in the old timeline. He was out there, unaccounted for, and payback had just painted a target on my back. We drove through Manhattan's veins, the city lights blurring into streaks of accusation. My phone buzzed, unknown number. You think this ends with him? Watch your mirrors, Ariana. The text hung there, a ghost from the grave. Rebirth wasn't resurrection. It was war, and the first battle was won. But the war? That was just heating up. The safe house Lena had scrounged was a third-floor walk-up in Bed-Stuy, the kind of place where the walls sweated secrets and the super never asked questions. We crashed there, blinds drawn against the sodium glow of street lamps, takeout containers piling like evidence on the Formica table. Feds have Ethan in holding, Lena reported over her burner phone, Voice hushed even though the neighbor's TV blared cop shows 2 doors down. DA's office is salivating. RICO charges, conspiracy, the works. Mom's lawyered up, singing like a canary to cut a deal. Singing. The image twisted in my gut. Her, perched on a metal chair in some fluorescent hell, trading Ethan's sins for her own silk-sheeted freedom. I paced the peeling linoleum, the text from the unknown number looping in my mind like a bad remix. Watch your mirrors. Ethan's fixer, Manny Ruiz, the ghost in the machine. In my first life, he'd been the shadow pulling strings, the one who'd slipped the antifreeze into Dad's flask, rigged the brakes on my Civic, then vanished into the ether after the crash. Low-level cartel muscle, with a rap sheet longer than the Verrazano span, assault, extortion, a whisper of hits in Jersey. Ethan had outsourced the dirt, keeping his hands lawyer clean. Now, with the gala footage going viral, Caldwell's scandal trending on every feed, Manny was loose, a rabid dog off the chain. Sleep was a joke, fractured by dreams of twisted metal and pillow smothering. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, coffee bitter on my tongue as I booted up Lena's ancient desktop. Time to hunt. Public records first. Manny's last known, a dive bar in Red Hook, the Rusty Anchor, where he'd nursed coronas and grudges. But that was pre-gala. Now, he'd bolt like a roach under light. I cross-referenced news clippings, Ethan's donor logs. There, a Shell LLC tied to Manny, funneling consulting fees to a P.O. box in Bensonhurst. Amateur hour, but enough to trace. Lena watched me work, her fingers drumming the table. Ari, this is next level. You're not just exposing, you're dismantling. What if Manny comes for you first? Her eyes, dark and worried, pinned me. Controversial decision to go lone wolf or drag her deeper. Then we end him, I said, the words tasting like ash. End him. Not kill, but corner. Tip the feds anonymously, let them squeeze him till he cracked wider than Mom. But trust? That was the real casualty. Even Lena, my rock, carried the scent of risk. Her DA hookup could flip, or worse, get cold feet. We hit the streets by noon, Brooklyn's summer haze clinging like guilt. The P.O. box led to a nondescript laundromat, the kind with flickering neons and washers that ate quarters. I cased it from a stoop across the way, hoodie up, blending with the dog walkers and delivery guys. Manny emerged at 2 p.m. sharp, stocky, tattooed forearms like coiled ropes, a duffel slung over his shoulder. He scanned the avenue, paranoia etched in his squint, then slid into a black Escalade that screamed rented menace. Lena tailed in her Civic, me riding shotgun, hearts in our throats. He wove toward the Belt Parkway, tires humming menace. He's heading to JFK, Lena muttered, 3 cars back. Flight out. Possible. Manny had passports stacked like poker chips, courtesy of Ethan's slush fund. But at the exit for Idlewild, he veered sharp into an industrial sprawl, warehouses squatting like forgotten giants, chain link rattling in the breeze. Our old family turf, the very nerve center of the scam. Ethan's legacy, now a tomb for secrets. We parked a block out, creeping through chain link gaps, the air thick with diesel and decay. Manny's Escalade idled by Bay 7, our old loading dock, where Dad had taught me to drive stick on milk runs. Now it was a ghost yard, crates stacked like accusations. Voices drifted, low, urgent. Manny, barking into a phone. The kids pinched, but the sister's the key. Caldwell said handle it quiet. Find her. Make it look like regret. Regret. My blood iced. Ethan, even in cuffs, directing the hit. We hunkered behind a rusted forklift, breath shallow. Manny paced, lighting a smoke, the cherry glowing like a warning flare. His partner, some meathead named Tito, from the old crew, nodded, checking a Glock's mag with casual menace. Controversial? Hell, eavesdropping on a murder plot was straight out of a Scorsese fever dream. But knowledge was the blade. I needed more. Slipping my phone to record, I crept closer, gravel crunching soft under sneakers. Manny's laugh rasped. Yeah, well, the sister's feisty this time. Caldwell's spooked. Says she's got dirt that sticks. Feisty. The word ignited fury, hot and unbidden. In my old life, I'd been feisty too, confronting him in that same warehouse, demanding shares of the truth. He'd backhanded me, called it tough love, then let Manny persuade me with a drive to the docks. Warnings escalated to threats, culminating in the pillow over my face, Ethan's hands, Manny's alibi. Now, hearing it plotted anew, I nearly lunged, visions of Dad's grave dancing red. But Lena's hand on my arm anchored me. Not yet, she whispered, fierce. They moved then, Manny tossing keys to Tito. Stake out the sisters, Pat and Queens. Caldwell's got her habits memorized. Queens. My row house, the cracked mirror, the life I'd clawed back. As the Escalade rumbled away, exhaust choking the air, I slumped against the crate, recording saved. We go to the feds, Lena urged, pulling me up. Full disclosure, Manny's on tape. But doubt gnawed. Ethan's reach lingered, like rod in the beams. What if the tip got twisted, pinned back on me? The family business wasn't just Ethan's. It was a web, strands to judges, cops on the take. Exposing Manny meant burning bridges I'd never known existed. Back at the safe house, we uploaded the audio to an encrypted drop, Lena's contact, blind relay to the DA. Hours ticked by, tension coiling tighter than a noose. My phone stayed silent, no taunts from ghosts. Then, at midnight, a knock, sharp, insistent. Lena peered through the peephole, face paling.
It's
your mom. Mom? In bed, stewy, reeking of Chanel and desperation? She burst in when we opened, gown rumpled, mascara tracks like war paint. Ariana, thank God. No hugs, just clutching my arms, eyes wild. Ethan, he told them everything. About Manny, the plots. But they're coming for you next. I made a deal. Immunity if I deliver the ledgers. Ledgers. The Holy Grail, hidden in a safe deposit box in Midtown, the one Dad had stashed before the poison took hold. She'd played me again?
or
Salvation? Sit, I said, voice steel. Lena hovered, wary. Mom spilled it all. Ethan's breakdown and interrogation, trading Manny for leniency, the cartel's retaliation looming, hits greenlit on loose ends. Including her. I was blind, baby.
greed.
It ate us. Tears, real this time, carving rivers through powder. Controversial decision 3. Forgive the monster who birthed me, or let her swing. I poured her water, watched her tremble. The box key. Now. She handed it over, a brass talisman. And Manny? Gone to ground. But Ethan's given up the burner codes. Feds are triangulating. A truce, fragile as glass. As she curled on the couch, exhaustion claiming her, I felt the twist of pity sharpen into resolve. Rebirth had peeled back the layers. Family wasn't blood, but choice. Mom had chosen wrong once. Maybe, just maybe, she'd choose right now. But as sirens wailed distant, feds closing in, my phone buzzed. Not unknown. Ethan's number from lockup. You win this round, sis. But blood's thicker. Ask Mom about the baby. The baby? The words detonated. A bomb from the past. What the hell had they buried now? The text glowed like a venomous spider in the dim safehouse light, Ethan's words crawling under my skin. Ask Mom about the baby. Baby? We'd never had siblings beyond the two of us. Ethan 3 years older, me the miracle after Mom's string of miscarriages. She'd spun tales of loss over Thanksgiving wine, toasting what could have been. But this? A secret puppeteered from a cell, designed to fracture what little alliance we'd forged. Mom stirred on the couch, her breathing ragged, oblivious. Lena caught my eye, mouthing what? I shook my head, pocketing the phone. Some poisons you swallow alone. Dawn crept in, smearing the blinds with pink as we geared up for the bank run. Midtown at rush hour was a gauntlet, horns blaring, suits streaming like lemmings toward subways. Mom flanked me, disguised in a thrift store trench and scarf, her elegance stripped to survival. Lena peeled off to monitor the drop, her kiss on my cheek a talisman. Call if it goes south.
South.
Like the cartels Manny danced with, or the hell Ethan had dragged us into. The safe deposit vault smelled of dust and finality, the clerk's indifferent nod granting access. Box 472, a steel crypt, heavy as guilt. Inside, not just ledgers, yellowed notebooks in Dad's scrawl, detailing every skim, every bribe but photos. Grainy Polaroids of Mom, young and radiant, belly swollen, arm around a man not Dad. Strangers, laughing in a savannah park, date stamped 1995. 2 years before Ethan. The baby, not lost to miscarriage, but given up, adopted out to fund their New York gamble. Ethan's real origin? A Caldwell by blood? No, the man in the photo, broad-shouldered with Mom's dimples, labeled J. Harlan before the bench. Judge Harlan, Ethan's mentor, the silver fox at the gala. The pieces slammed together. Mom's affair, the hush-hush adoption, Ethan as the pawn returned for leverage. Harlan's unwavering ethics. A sham, propping Ethan's rise while burying the incestuous ties. Dad had known, his notes screamed it. Harlan's boy. Poison the well. The antifreeze wasn't just greed, it was silencing the threat to their tangled dynasty. I slammed the box shut, nausea rising. Mom's eyes pleaded as we emerged into the lobby. What did you find? Truth. I spat, thrusting a photo at her. Her face crumpled, the dam breaking. It was one mistake, Ari. Harlan, he promised the world. The baby.
Ethan.
I thought it would fix us. Fix us? The lie that birthed monsters. She sobbed, collapsing into a marble bench, the vault's hush amplifying her wails. Controversial decision 4. Drag her to the feds with a full bomb, or let her rot in partial confession. Blood thicker, Ethan taunted. But mine ran cold now. You're coming clean. All of it. Or I walk, and you face Manny alone. She nodded, broken, as we hailed a cab to the federal building. Traffic crawled, the city a snarl of indifference. My burner buzzed, Lena. Manny's pinged. Warehouse district. Feds mobilizing, but he's armed.
Armed.
The image flashed, Tito's Glock gleaming. We detoured, Mom protesting weakly. The DA first, no. This ends today. The cab dumped us at the industrial edge, the same sprawl where we'd eavesdropped. Feds' unmarked SUVs idled blocks away, tack vests glinting. Too slow. Manny's Escalade squatted by the dock, engine off, a trap sprung. We crept through the chain link, Mom's heels discarded for stealth. Voices echoed from Bay 7. Manny's rasp, Tito's grunt. Caldwell's done, but the girl's the score. Harlan's calling shots now, says tie it to the sister, make it domestic. Harlan, the judge, pulling strings from his bench, protecting his bastard son. Rage boiled, propelling me forward. Mom grabbed my sleeve. Ari, no, but I shook free. Bursting into the open, the ledger bundle clutched like a shield. Manny spun, pistol whipping up, surprise etching his pockmarked face.
You.
Persistent little puta. Tito flanked, meaty fists clenched. The dock creaked underfoot, crates looming like judges. Drop it, I said, voice echoing off metal. Feds are here. Your play's over. Manny laughed, low and ugly, circling. Over? Harlan's got pull. Ethan's just the patsy, kid's mine by proxy.
Proxy.
The web tightened. Manny, Harlan's enforcer, Ethan's shadow dad in all but name. Mom stepped out then, trembling but defiant. Enough, Manuel. For God's sake. He faltered, the gun dipping a fraction.
Elena?
You crazy bitch, bringing the whore to the party.
Whore.
The slur landed like a slap, but Mom held ground. The boy's yours? All these years. Manny sneered. Harlan seed my muscle. You think Caldwell built this? Nah, we did, while you played house. The revelation hung, toxic. Ethan, not Dad's, but Harlan's and Manny's twisted guardian. The poison, the crash, protecting the lie, the lineage. Tito lunged then, greedy for the ledgers, but I sidestepped, crate splintering under his weight. Manny fired. Wild, the crack deafening, bullet whining off steel.
I dove, rolling, mom screaming.
Feds shouted from the perimeter, boots pounding gravel. Chaos erupted, Tito grappling me, breath reeking of onions, my knee slamming his groin. He howled, staggering. Manny advanced, gun trained. For the family, he mocked, echoing Ethan's deathbed whisper. But Mom moved, impossible, the fragile ghost, lunging at Manny, nails raking his face. Not my girl, he roared, backhanding her, blood blooming on her lip. She crumpled, but it bought seconds, feds swarming, vests bulging, Glocks barking. Federal agents. Down. Manny fired again, clipping an agent's shoulder, then bolted for the Escalade. Tires squealed, but a cruiser T-boned him, metal shrieking symphony. In the aftermath, dust settling, I knelt by Mom, her hand cold in mine. "Did I fix it?" she whispered, eyes fluttering. Paramedics swarmed, oxygen mask hissing. "You did." I lied, throat tight. Lena arrived, wrapping me in her jacket, the ledger safe in evidence bags. Harlan's name burned hottest, his bench, his influence. A call to the DA. Anonymous tip. Photos attached. The empire cracked wide. But as they loaded Mom into the ambulance, sirens fading, Ethan's text echoed. Blood's thicker. And in the wreckage of the Escalade, Manny's body cooling. A final twist glinted, a locket around his neck, engraved for E. Your real dad. Ethan's eyes, in that cell, would widen when he learned. Revenge? It tasted like ash, the cycle unbroken.
Or was it?
Hours later, in the ER waiting room, Lena's hand in mine, a nurse approached. "Miss Caldwell, your mother's stable.
And
She's asking for you. Says there's more to tell."
more.
The hook sank deeper, pulling me toward whatever grave they'd dug next. The hospital room hummed with beeps and antiseptic sting, Mom propped on pillows like a deposed queen, for dripping mercy into her veins. Her lip was swollen, a purple bloom against pale skin, but her eyes, those sharp green lasers, locked on mine with a clarity I'd never seen. Not the glazed devotion of childhood, nor the scheming glint of betrayal, but raw, unfiltered truth. Lena hovered in the doorway, thumbing her phone for updates. Harlan in custody, raging about judicial immunity. Manny DOA, .38 hollow points doing their work. Ethan, transferred to MCC, spilling more than a confessional priest. The scandal had metastasized, CNN loops of the gala screens, pundits dissecting the Caldwell curse like a true crime doc. "Sit, Ariana," Mom rasped, patting the bedrail. Her hand trembled, the one that had signed away a brother's future for a Manhattan zip code. I perched, wary, the weight of the locket, snatched from Manny's corpse by a Fed, now evidence in my clutch, burning a hole. "The baby," I started, voice low.
Ethan.
"Harlan, how deep does this go?" She winced, not from pain, but memory's knife. "Deeper than graves, baby girl. But you deserve the end of it." It unraveled like a thrift store seam. 1994, Mom 22. Waitressing in Savannah, Harlan a hotshot prosecutor with eyes for more than justice. A whirlwind, stolen weekends in beach motels, promises of rings and respectability. Then the pregnancy test, positive as a verdict. Harlan panicked, offered cash for an abortion. She refused, dreaming of fairy tales. But when she pressed for commitment, he ghosted, leaving her with a wad of bills and a bus ticket north. Your dad, bless him, found me crying in a diner off I-95. Offered a job, a home. No questions. Dad, the knight in faded flannel, who'd built the business from scraps, loving her fiercely, flaws and all. Ethan arrived 9 months later, blue-eyed and bawling, adoption papers forged in a back-alley notary to bury Harlan's stain. "We raised him as ours," she whispered. "But blood calls." At 16, Ethan hacked Dad's files, found the discrepancies, the inconsistencies in his birth cert. Confronted Harlan at a fundraiser. The judge, he didn't deny, embraced him, mentored, molded. Molded into what? A monster with a law degree, laundering Harlan's dirty judgments through the family front. Manny? Harlan's old fixer from prosecutor days. Uncle to the boy, enforcer when ethics frayed. And the poison? I pressed the word acid. Mom's tears spilled, silent. Ethan's idea, after Dad threatened to expose it all. I mixed the doses. Told myself it was mercy, his pain, the cancer lies we spun. But it was fear. Of losing the lie. The lie that swallowed us. Ethan's rise, my fall. The crash scripted to silence my questions. I knew about the pillow, Ari. Held your hand after, stroked your hair like when you were little. Whispered apologies you couldn't hear. Her confession hung, a noose of what-ifs. In my death, had I felt that touch? A mother's regret. Too late. Controversial decision 5. The last, the hardest. Absolve or condemn. The DA waited outside, deal on the table. Full testimony for reduced time. Mom could walk, a ghost in witness protection, or rot with Ethan and Harlan. I thought of Dad's photo, his scrawled protect her. A meant for Mom or me. Blood's thicker, but choices carve the vein. Testify, I said finally. All of it. No deals. Let the truth bury them. Her nod was small, but steel bloomed in her eyes.
For you.
For us. The weeks blurred into trials, a spectacle rivaling O.J. Circus. Ethan, pale and orange, glaring daggers from the stand, his testimony a desperate pivot. Ariana fabricated it, jealousy, mental break. The jury didn't buy it. The ledgers laughed last. Harlan, disbarred and defiant, spun tales of framed jobs, but Mom's words, halting, tear-streaked, eviscerated him. My son by your blood, your orders in his veins. Gasps echoed the courtroom. Headlines screamed judicial incest. The Harlan heir. Manny's ghost loomed in forensics, his locket the nail in the coffin. I testified last, voice steady under the lights, laying bare the rebirth, not literally, but the awakening. I died for their ambition. Came back to live for mine. The twist? No grand reveal of timelines, but the deeper cut. Ethan's final plea, in a visitor's booth, separated by plexiglass. Sis, it was for us. Harlan promised you'd be taken care of, shares the business. Lies still. But his eyes, cracked with defeat, held a boy's plea. The baby's not the only secret. Yours too. Mom's lie, to keep Dad happy. What? The room spun. Mom's miscarriages, cover for another Harlan fling? DNA tests pending, but the doubt seeded, a final poison. Guilty verdicts reigned. Ethan, 25 to life. Harlan, disgraced. Suicide watch after the sentencing. Mom, 10 years minimum security, her choice, no deal, a penance. She hugged me goodbye in the prison yard, frail but fierce. Live big, Ari. For the ones we lost.
Lost.
Dad, the unborn, the girl I'd been. Months later, the row house sold, proceeds seeding a clean start. Lena and I, partners in a legal aid startup, fighting for the framed, the forgotten. Queens faded in the rear view. Manhattan skyline a scar turned constellation. Rebirth's gift, not just revenge, but reinvention. But on quiet nights, Ethan's text haunts. Blood's thicker. Tests came back negative. I was Dad's, pure. The lie, his last gasp. Yet the tension lingers, a controversial echo. Did I destroy family or free it? At the office window, overlooking the East River, I raise a toast to ghosts. To second chances. The city hums below, tense and alive. No shocking turn left. Just me, Ariana Caldwell no more, stepping into the light. Unbroken.